Nigeria is confronting a deepening climate financing challenge at a time when transparency, accountability, and citizens' participation are more critical than ever. At the heart of this conversation is Connected Development Code, an organization pushing for greater visibility in how public funds are assessed, allocated, and utilized for greater public accountability. With the 2027 general elections on the horizon, experts warn that unresolved gap in climate funding and governance could significantly impact development outcomes and public trust. Code's 2025 annual report brings these issues into sharp focus, presenting data, evidence, and on-the-ground insights that demands urgent attention.
We're here today to launch Connected Development's 2025 annual report. And I want to start not with pleasantries or with numbers. Nigeria received over 4.928 billion US dollars in climate finance over 7 years. 75% of it arrived at loans, and the country needs over 177.7 billion US dollars annually to meet its climate obligations. We published that gap. We named it. We took it to the Nigerian Governors Forum, and we will not stop saying it until the architecture of climate funding changes. This is what Connected Development does. We follow the money. And in 2025, we followed it across 12 African countries into 4,772 schools, into all producing communities in Niger Delta, into federal allocation data and that most Nigerians have never seen in plain language, and into health security financing systems where public visibility into how epidemic preparedness funds are spent and they remain dangerously limited. What were our findings? We found progress and we found gaps, and quite frankly, both of them matter. Through our IDOL project, our teams independently monitored schools across Borno, Ekiti, Kaduna, Kano, Katsina, Kebbi, and Plateau State. We found improvements in scholarship delivery and in digital learning access. We also found critical gaps in school safety and disability inclusion. We did not stop at just documentation. We triggered collective action because we believe that accountability that ends in a report without producing reform is just an expensive paperwork, if you ask me. Through our Power of Voices partnership, we trained over 119 host community members from across states on their rights under the Petroleum Industrial Act. We strengthened communities in Niger Delta to hold extractive sector actors to promises written into law. Through our Fact About Fact series, which we began, we gave Nigerians a weekly window into how federal allocations flow into the state and local governments. And through Project Track Basic Healthcare Provision Fund, we applied Follow the Money methodology to Nigeria's Basic Healthcare Provision Fund. Because the cost of opacity in epidemic preparedness is not abstract, it's measured in lives. What we build, beyond findings, we build things that will outlast this report. And so through our partnership with Human we also reached over 300 girls with reusable sanitary pads and structured menstrual health education. Because for many girls, staying in school is not only about classroom or policy. It is also about having the basic support they need to show up, stay comfortable, and keep learning. We developed a gender-responsive education sector plan roadmap in Bauchi State, embedding gender equality into how education is planned, funded, and evaluated at institutional level. We established a civic integrity club in a special needs school in Cross River. Because children with disabilities are not peripheral to governance, they are essential to it. We launched Through the Money in Sierra Leone, making code present in 12 African countries. We trained more than 450 students in civic hackathons, debates, and recycling initiatives across 6 states. Because the young people in these rooms or in those rooms are accountability actors Nigeria will need in 2027 and beyond. One of those accountability actors is Dorothy Stevens. She came into our Girls Education Project as a community behavioral change influencer with passion but no institutional platform. By March 2026, she had been appointed to the Ministerial Committee on Sexual Harassment under the Bauchi State Ministry of Higher Education. That appointment did not happen by accident. It happened because we invested in her capacity, gave her a platform, and gave out and got out of her way. Excuse me. This is what this work is supposed to produce. So, what will 2027 require? Nigeria is roughly 24 months from the general election. What happens between now and then on budget transparency, on civic education, on whether communities are equipped to participate or merely to observe will determine the quality of that election and the governance that follows it. Code is not a bystander in that process. We are building the infrastructure that credible democracy participation require. The Digital Mobilization Lab is training young Nigerians in digital accountability and governance literacy, specifically because 2027 cannot catch us unprepared. The Fact About Fact series exists because an informed citizen is a more powerful citizen. And every school monitoring team, every civic hackathon, every follow the money report filed from a community the national press has never visited is a brick in infrastructure. There are still girls out of school. There is still public money that cannot be traced or accounted for. There is still communities excluded from decisions that shape their lives. We are not discouraged by that. We are defined by it.
Code Impact Snapshot in 2025 reveals 12 African countries reached, 4,772 schools monitored, weekly fact transparency reports, and over 450 plus youths trained. This is not just a report, it's evidence. Follow at Media 360 Impact for credible, people-centered reporting.